My mama's apple tree produced so many apples this year. This is a fraction of what came off of her tree. I mean, it was bountiful. So why not share some recipes that include apples? And you may think, oh, I mean, of course you can bake with them, make some cakes and things like that. I mean, applesauce is an easy one because you can freeze it and it lasts forever. Canning, things like that. No. I'm gonna make soup, among other things. This particular video is all about soups that include apple in the recipe. Oh, don't want to lose my apple. And hopefully I will have a couple more recipes, not hopefully. I will have more recipes that include apples after this one, but let's start with soups. They're easy, they're pretty much in a one-pot situation, minus some of the prep and chopping you have to do. Delicious, they store well, and I mean, why not use up a bunch of apples in something savory and yummy? And also, I'm thinking of the people out there that are like me, who don't love baking and don't love measuring and much prefer a little savory option for apples. Let me take you through my first soup recipe featuring apples, carrots, onions, some seasoning, a couple other little things. Let me take you step by step, and away we go.
I've got my stock pot all ready to go with my chopped up vegetables, about 5 carrots, 2 medium onions, and 2 large apples. That's it, only a couple ingredients. I'm going to sprinkle in curry powder. You can add as much or as little as you want, depending how intense of that flavor you like. And I'm gonna fill my stock pot with vegetable stock and leave my veggies still peeking out a little bit, just for the right consistency. Salt, pepper, and give it a simmer for about 30 to 40 minutes. I take it off the heat, let it cool down just a touch before getting my immersion blender in there, just so that it's not piping hot when I'm trying to blend everything. If you don't have an immersion blender, you can throw it in batches into a stand-up blender, but I love how everything is just done in one pot until it's nice, smooth, and creamy. You can eat it just like this, but I am swirling in just a little bit of heavy cream into this one.
That first soup has a wonderful balance of that spice seasoning, but a really great punch of apple where you really can taste it in this combination. It is an absolute wonderful little warmer-upper on a cool night or an appetizer before your meal. Who doesn't love a little soup to start the evening? The second soup recipe that I'm going to take you through is a bit more hearty, thicker, gives you a bit more bang for your buck. But what I will tell you is that you want to watch your ratios on this one in order to make sure that you can still taste the apple. Let me take you through this potato, apple, and cheddar soup. The cheese lover in me is so excited.
My ingredients here: 4 large potatoes, 3 large apples, 1 large onion, and 2 cloves of garlic. Lots of salt and pepper on this one, but I am not adding any other spices or seasoning. Just filling it up again till my veggies just are peeking out a little bit with that vegetable stock. Cover and simmer for at least a half an hour. You know it's good to go when you can smush those potatoes because you know they're going to blend really easily at that point. So again, my immersion blender, I love this thing. Get it nice and smooth. Now you're going to see how thick this soup is. So again, I am adding in a little bit of heavy cream. You can choose milk. You can do a couple other options in here if you want to cream it up or thin it out a little bit. This soup does not need a lot in it, except I told you I was excited about cheese. So sharp cheddar is my last ingredient after blending, and it'll just melt right in there.
So just make sure 3 to 4 nice size apples with your potato soup here, just so that it doesn't, the cheddar and the potato don't outweigh that flavor completely. You still want to have a little bit of that apple in there. I mean, otherwise, what is the point of putting apples in it? Because potatoes are so thick and starchy in any kind of soup, you want to be careful, like I said, with the ratios on this one so you can still taste the apple. And don't overdo the liquid. Once you blend that soup and you get the consistency where everything is smooth, if it's too thick for you, you can always add a little bit more liquid. A little bit of water, a little bit of stock, maybe add some milk instead of the heavy cream, or do a combination of both and get the consistency that you like for this type of soup. The other fun thing you could do with this one is add a little bacon crumble on the top. That, I think, would be delicious. Last but not least, my third soup that incorporates apples is one using butternut squash. There is an abundance of squash out there this time of year. I know I see them everywhere. And butternut squash is probably one of the most popular and easiest to use. You don't even have to roast and prep your butternut squash for this one. It all goes in the pot and we simmer it and we blend it just like we did the other two. And I'll show you a couple little additional spices and things that I like to do with this soup.
Again, in the pot, everything goes. This time my pot is a little bit more full because butternut squash, you can't always find a small one. So my ratio here is your butternut squash, kind of like a medium one. I'm using 3 of the medium apples, 2 onions, 2 garlic, and I'm also throwing in some sprigs of thyme for the cooking process. When your vegetables are all ready to be blended again, remember to take those pieces of herb out and then do your blending. Again, super easy with the immersion blender. I love using it. You've seen me use it for all 3 recipes here. Now in this particular recipe, you can go ahead and add that heavy cream again, but I really like coconut milk in this one. About half a can works really, really well.
Very similar to the first soup. This one is a little bit on the lighter side, a little bit creamy, nice and delicious, but a very different flavor profile. It is such a great little thing to warm you up and warm your soul with just a touch of that apple flavor. We're not overdoing it. It's not dessert in a bowl with a little bit of veggies. It is definitely a great balance. Believe me, don't believe me, try it yourself and see what you think. And remember, when you have an abundance of an ingredient or something is on sale or in season, soups are such a wonderful way to use up those ingredients and then store or freeze them. Whether you want to take a little small container of soup to work for lunch or you want to have a double portion for dinners, this is my favorite thing about soups, is that you make them, you eat them, you store the rest, and then you don't have to do the work on a night where you're like, ooh, I'm craving some apple and squash soup. Here you go, ready to go. It's that easy. I love doing this. I hope these 3 recipes inspire you to use up some apples in your life. And stay tuned, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because there are going to be a couple more apple recipes coming your way. Till next time, where you'll need apples. Whoop.